What's up, guys? Welcome to BitCast episode 35 for the week of August 13th, 2017. I'm your host, Jake Martin. In the studio this week, we have once again Matt Intiman.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
Back from your maiden voyage.
Yeah, I see you put that on the paper. I don't know what that means.
That means you were gone for a whole weekend.
Right, what makes it a maiden voyage?
The part where there was no sea involved. You went into the Wild West.
Gotcha.
The dunes, the sand, the sand sea, as they call it.
Yeah, so I drove to Texas and back.
Dude, don't tell people where you went, dude. It's a secret. But you did go to Narlands and mess around with all the voodoo magic they have down there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, actually.
I was a little worried about you.
Yeah, we made it out.
But I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. I was really just waiting for you. It's been 2 weeks actually that we haven't had a chance.
Well, you can podcast without me.
I just feel like I know, but no one has the knowledge of Nintendo as much as you do. And
That's true.
Podcast specifically is going to be talking about Breath of the Wild because you finally decided to beat it not too long ago.
Right.
And I'm talking Felipe through beating it as well. So
he hasn't beat it yet either?
He's about to this weekend. He's going for it. Shout out Felipe Munoz. But yeah, before we jump into things, a few housekeeping notes. I have a new G Suite. So if you want to be a part of the show, I am very serious when I say this. Please, please, please just send us emails to crew@bitbloggist.com. That's crew@bitbloggist.com. And also, if you go to the website, bitbloggist.com, there will be a little form that you can fill out that'll just automatically add you to that. That way,
tight.
Whenever we go live or if I put something up that's like just you might want to hear about, you'll be informed. And you can also respond to that as well and just ask questions along the way. So I encourage you to do that. I'm trying to make sure that I'm just engaging with our listeners as much as I can. And I'm doing video this time in case you already haven't noticed. This is a big deal for us. For anyone listening, you can't notice, but but regardless.
Well, and people actually get a shout out if they email in, right?
That's right.
Wow.
By golly. Oh, and you know what? Shoot, I should have had this ready to go, but we got some new reviews. So,
no way.
So I'll work on pulling that up. But a few more housekeeping notes. We are going to be talking about Splatoon 2. A little bit of that. Just I mentioned Game of Thrones here just for a second. If you want to talk about it, just by how gosh dang good it's been lately.
I think we got to save it for its own thing.
Okay.
It deserves its own podcast, I would say.
There's some brief news about Metroid Prime and the remake, and the person who was working on the fan made version of it. We'll talk about him for a little bit. Rainbow Six Siege is doing some good stuff, but like I said, our main topic of discussion today is going to be Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Spoilers.
And most specifically the end boss and kind of how important that is to most games. I think I've covered most everything. But before we jump to our main topics, Matt, what are you playing? If you are playing anything,
still playing Overwatch. Played a little bit of Rocket League.
A little bit of Pyre.
Pyre, yes.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So you're not very far, right? You'd say maybe 5 hours in or so?
About 5 hours. Yeah, not even. Probably like 3 hours.
Yeah. Do you know how long it is? Because I don't know if I'm about to beat it or if I'm just getting started.
I was told that it's a short game, but if you've been playing for a while.
I've been playing for a while.
How long have you been playing for?
I don't know, 15 hours maybe?
Well, shoot, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be.
So how would you explain Pyre if people don't know what this is?
I would say Pyre, to the uneducated listener, is spiritual basketball, or religious basketball. I heard someone else use that description, and it's pretty much spot on to what it is.
Yeah, so it's an RPG, a lot of text. So if you don't like reading in games, don't play this game. It's mostly reading.
It is text heavy, so...
But then the core mechanic is like a 3-on-3. It's called Pyre because they have these, I guess, pyre things
that are set to worship their lords.
I guess
of the rites.
The lore in this game is really, really interesting. Like there's so much backstory and you're kind of getting little pieces at a time of
from
like,
each character you meet, and then the book will add new pages to talk about like a story that happened a long time ago with some lord or something like that. So I'm kind of still confused as to what's going on.
Yeah, and it's cool because it reveals a little bit more about the story a little bit at a time. And I mean, I would say this game is like 75% reading text and then like 25% actually playing the Pyre match or it's what's it called, like a rite?
Yeah, it's a rite. Yeah. But it's cool because there's like different factions and they all like have like different personalities and stuff like that. So it was just cool kind of getting to see how they built out like this world, because like if you're familiar with like Bastion and a couple of other games that they made, very similar in the terms of like music, art direction, but and even like the characters are like a little similar in how they're drawn out,
but basically like you're playing as a banished person in this what do they call it? It's some kind of like underworld,
yeah,
but you're trying to escape, and there's all these other people that have been banished as well that are trying to get out, and you sort of assemble this crew, and each person is like a unique species or race and has special abilities, and you're just taking on these teams 3-on-3 trying to win your freedom out of this underworld.
So and this was like what, $20 on the eShop, and I think it's on Steam also. So
super worth it.
It's only on PlayStation and PC right now, but if you have either of those, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, if you like reading.
Yeah. but cool gameplay also.
Yep.
So the review I found is I'll start with the latest one. So we had one on August 2nd. This is just from random listener 234987. I don't know what that means. He said, I've been in and out of listening to this podcast, but I will say that every time I do listen, it's been pretty funny / informative. It seems that these guys are all good buddies, so it's cool to be a part of the conversation, even though I don't know any of them. Keep up the good work.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good, right?
I mean, what more
I don't even know who that even is.
Funny and informative. That's what we're going for.
That's what we're going for.
That's awesome.
And I'll save the other ones for later, but we got one from Chris Williams and Taylor Thurmond also. So just
what a sweetheart.
Two great people.
Yep.
So anyways, drink of the show today is Dale's Pale Ale, if you've had that product placement right there. And
pretty good beer.
Good old Land Shark over here for Matt.
Tastes kind of like Corona, I would say.
Yeah, it's actually a subpar beer. I apologize for giving you that one.
Man, this is exactly what I needed.
This is just what I needed. I'm gonna have a dry mouth when into this, so I apologize to any listeners.
Well, that's like 5.5%, which is pretty heavy for a beer.
Yeah, I'm getting crunk on this podcast.
I thought you were like a light beer guy.
I am. It was just
so. I mean, this seems more your.
I know. Hannah walked in and gave it to me, so I just had to deal with what I had.
Nice.
So, first thing on the list is Splatoon 2. Apparently, data miners have cracked Splatoon 2 and found some data that would hint at an extensive list of maps, weapons, and other features that were pulled from update files. So I bring this up just to again highlight the fact that Nintendo so far has been pretty serious about supporting their games they've released for Switch. Like, these are two of the main headliners. Oops, sorry about that. And they have apparently a lot of stuff planned for DLC, which is, and it's all going to be free for Splatoon 2 and as well as for ARMS. They just had a recent patch and like some balance tweaks come out for that game. So just excited to see more of what they do with that, and I'm loving Splatoon 2. I just put a review up, just a little plug right there.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome game.
I still haven't bought it yet, but every time I play it, I get a little bit more tempted to buy it.
I just need a few more people to play online with me because I think that'd be fun. I have a few folks that I know that have it, but I want to test out the like online functionality. Like if you were at your house and I was at I was here, I was like, how easy would it be to get you online in the same room and to set up like voice chat?
Oh gosh,
easy.
I
think that'd be a funny video segment of how bad it actually is. So
well, do you have all the peripherals? And stuff? Would you have to buy that?
Yeah.
Gosh,
there's got to be a workaround. There's got to be some device like third party you can buy that's just the same thing for like $5.
Probably
because it's just literally like a Y splitter. It looks like.
Yeah.
So, Splatoon 2, awesome game. Check it out if you have a Switch. And then also we had our first Splatfest. Mayo beat out Ketchup, which was surprising to me. I'm gonna be honest.
Are those people?
Well, so you chose a side, Mayo versus Ketchup. And
was it like white and red?
Yeah, it was pretty gross. pretty gross color combinations. But Mayo won in terms of how many matches they won and stuff like that. But there were way more people that actually chose ketchup as their preferred condiment. So that was a little misleading, I think.
Explain how a Splatfest works.
So you basically pick a side. It's like ice cream versus cake or mayo versus ketchup as a condiment, and you pick a side, and then you basically just play the game as normal. But it's turf war the entire time that you play online, just for a weekend. And then at the end of the weekend, they tally up all the winning results and different modes that everyone played, and whoever won the most is determined the best condiment or best of whatever.
I mean, I'd probably pick ketchup too because I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah. Well, but apparently, like, there's a big like debate between like Europe, like
Oh, right.
mayo's pretty big in Europe and other countries. It's not as big in America because mayo here kind of sucks.
Well, I mean, is it the quality of the mayo?
It's the quality of the mayo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because here it's just like you put it on a burger and kind of forget about it.
Mayo's fine, but only in specific.
Like French fries is what they use it for.
Ooh.
Yeah. You can't really trust anybody that does
I
that.
do like. I added a little bit of hot sauce and some mayo. Put it on a BLT. It was good.
A little BLT, a little built.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So next on the list, I just want to quickly talk about this because I know this is a big game, but like, it was such a stealth release that it really, I didn't think it was going to be that successful.
Mm-hmm.
But Rainbow Six Siege just topped 20 million registered players,
Mm-hmm.
and that I think that's across all platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, if you think about that, I mean, Overwatch just capped out
30 million. Yeah.
So
I mean,
and that's Blizzard. So I mean,
Right.
but granted, you know, Rainbow Six is Tom Clancy, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, it's a big.
it's got the name for sure.
It's got a big name, and I'm not sure who. The
Does
actual
Eric play
developer.
that?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We have a
Does
lot of
Josh
friends.
play that too?
No,
Okay.
we have a lot of friends that do play it.
Should we get on that?
I think so.
Really?
I mean, if it's cheap,
If it's cheap.
I do know that it's like going for like $20 or less now.
No way.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's-
I could justify $20 if I could play with you guys.
and it's like online, like pretty tactical though. It's like
I like that.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I'm not the biggest shooter fan in the world, but if there's some kind of strategy and I mean, I think tactics is cool. Everyone plays a role, and
Yeah.
you got to be like very smart about it. I mean,
I
it sounds
guess
cool to
that's-
me.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Overwatch because you play a specific role, I mean, it's similar except for just a lot more realistic.
Yeah, which is fine.
You can like climb walls and then drop down from the ceiling and take out people. It's pretty cool.
Sounds cool.
And then I think the longer list here. Well, actually, before that, I want to talk about Yooka Laylee quickly. They are very close to finishing this up. The developer came out and basically said, like, we're
For
just
Switch or
for
okay,
Switch.
because it's out on other platforms, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been actually specifically waiting for this game to come out on Switch.
Right.
It just made more sense to me there. And
Yeah.
so the fact that it's coming out pretty soon is exciting, but like it's interesting that it's taken this long. And I just wanted to know, like, what were your thoughts on this? Like, do you want to get this game? Does this have any like interest to you? Like now that
Mhm.
it's been so long that it's been out.
So I was super excited about this game just because I'm a huge Banjo-Kazooie fan.
3D platformers in general.
Yeah, and they said this was like a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
Just because I watched Nuts and Bolts come out, which was just such a freaking disaster.
Hot garbage. Hot garbage.
But I don't know. Looking at some of the reviews, it seemed like it had its issues.
So a lot of the complaints were camera issues.
Was it frame rate too?
And yeah, there was like a buggy frame rate or something like that. But apparently this has all been fixed for the Switch.
Okay. Then I'm still very interested in this game.
I think I am too. Because we have a ways still until Mario comes out. Well,
Mhm.
not really a ways. October. It's pretty soon actually.
Yeah, it's like
2
2
months.
months.
But regardless, I wanted to kind of curtail this into. Well, not curtail. That'd be the opposite. But basically, I wanted to lead into
Like a segue.
a segue. The other like kind of like genre matches that are coming onto the Switch that aren't Nintendo first party. So we had Brawl Out, which
Right.
just got announced, and it looks basically like a Smash Brothers clone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that gameplay footage or not.
I did.
So is it? I just think it's interesting that Nintendo is allowing these games that would absolutely compete with like
Right.
what they're trying to accomplish. And I don't know if they have any plans to release Smash Bros anytime soon. I wish they would, but this seems like a pretty good addition. Like,
Well, Smash 4 came out maybe a year or two after the Wii U came out, right?
yeah,
So I wouldn't expect to see a new Smash on Switch anytime soon. It seems like they like to wait because
it wouldn't be a new
just
Smash. I was just thinking they would re-release Smash 4.
I don't like that trend though. I want to avoid that as much as possible. Like,
So
I
you
don't
don't-
want to rebuy every game that I have.
So you don't want Smash on?
I want a new Smash.
but you don't want old Smash on Switch.
Well, okay, I'm actually torn. I'm backtracking here.
Because the game itself was fantastic, and the only thing that hurt it really was the fact that we didn't have as many people that had it. It was like me and you, and that was it
a
basically.
few people at work, but so
Bringing this on the go, like with a proper controller setup,
yeah.
would be pretty baller.
So I think they need to release the full game with all the DLC
Oh, absolutely.
and add some more stuff as well. If they just port it, I don't want to pay for it again.
If they add more stuff, like that's gonna be like what 70 plus characters.
Well, I paid $50 for the game, and then how much was DLC? I probably spent an extra $20-$30 on it. So I mean, I'm pushing $100. I don't want to spend another $50 or $60 on this game.
It's just a bottomless pit
Gosh, it's just Nintendo.
for dark pits.
Nintendo is the king of making you rebuy games that you already had. All the virtual console, all the, even the NES Classic, they just keep repackaging stuff, and I don't want to rebuy everything that I bought 2 years ago on the Wii U.
I'm kind of with you on that.
You know what I mean?
We were like so happy when Mario Kart 8 came out.
Well, we
that I
were
was just
desperate.
like,
We were
This is
desperate.
great to have, like really cool, and it is still great to have. But I can't tell you, like I don't think I've touched Mario Kart in a minute.
Yeah, I played over the weekend. I played like a circuit, but that's about it. I mean, it's good to have, and they're great games, but you just can't. I don't want to buy every game twice. It's just
And Smash Bros. I have a soft spot for Smash Bros. I just recently had to rebuy my copy of the N64 Smash.
worth it.
Yeah,
I mean, you shouldn't even own an N64 if you don't have Smash.
it's kind of true.
Yeah.
There's like a list of games that I might just put this up as like a little like just so you know. If you don't own these games and you have a 64, then you're doing it wrong.
You're a poser.
Yeah, you're a phony. Go ahead and spend like $400 on video games that are like really old and work half the time.
Yeesh.
Totally worth it. Or we can wait till Nintendo puts out the N64 Classic.
Oh gosh, just
Maybe.
more money.
Yep. Just real quick, last little preface here. I think. Wait, let me check my list. Yep. I want to keep everyone informed. Some people may not be aware of like what comes out in a given month, and I'm gonna be honest. I have a hard time keeping track of what Nintendo releases on the eShop.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's always sneak releases. I'm just like, oh, didn't know that game was coming out. But
Is Overcooked out yet?
Yep, it's
okay.
out.
I'm probably gonna get that.
But there's apparently pretty bad like frame rate issues, so I'll wait till they patch
No.
it and just see if it works a little better. But definitely a great game also if you want to pick that up on any other console. I think
yeah, it's like a multiplayer cooking simulator.
And apparently we were doing it wrong. If you play with 4 people, it's really hard. If you play with 2 people, it's actually manageable.
Well,
But 4 people is way more fun.
Yeah.
But we literally could not beat. What was it, the space?
well,
We
it
were
just
like-
got stupid.
We were in space.
It got stupid. But the competitive was fun too.
oh,
2-on-2.
Yeah, we're getting smoked by you and was it you and Eric?
Uh,
Or you and Josh?
I don't know.
You guys were killing us.
Just you were losing.
Yeah, I was losing a lot, which made the game way less fun. But out today actually is Matterfall, which is the same guys, or which is the same developer that made Resogun. If you ever played that, it was like when the PS4 first came out. They're really, really good at arcade shooters, and this is a side-scrolling kind of platforming shooter. I've heard so far great things about how fun the game is, but it's really, really, really short.
Okay.
Like it's super short, and there's no real competitive end game. Like you can try and get higher scores every time, but
And
it's
it's
like
a shooter.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like a side-scrolling like shooter. I don't know what you would call that.
It's like a scrolling kind of like ship.
You run along, like kind of like Metroid, like 2D Metroid. You're running around, you're shooting people, and they're coming at you in waves and stuff, and you keep moving.
Are you like on so you
yeah,
just
you're,
keep
you're,
moving?
you're a person running.
Right.
Yeah.
But you just keep going. Like you're not exploring like
I don't know.
Metroid. You're just running.
I don't know about as much as that, but I think because it's score based, it has to be like a continuous moving
Mm-hmm.
screen. Regardless, that game came out today, as well as Nidhogg 2, which, if you aren't aware of this, is a great party game. I would definitely recommend picking this up if you are picking up the original one at least for a discounted price. I'm sure it's like super cheap now.
Yeah.
It's just literally like just pixel art, like probably like not even like 8-bit. I don't know what you would even call the pixels on that.
Yeah.
But really,
Was it
really,
less than 8-bit?
really
Yeah.
jaggedy.
Yeah.
And you basically it's like fencing, and the object is to run to one side of the screens. There's like 3 screens you have to run to. But Nidhogg 2 basically just develops that idea with better graphics and a few different weapons you can play or use. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's just like it's a little excessive in terms of animation. Like what made the original so fun is that it was just
Pixels.
and very
Yeah.
quick, and this one's a little gross.
I don't like the art style. Yeah, I didn't. I thought the characters were ugly. The weapons look cool, but yeah, I think like you said, the strength of Nidhogg, the original, was the simplistic art style. I mean, it was basically just lift your sword up, lift your sword. Like you could choose the position of your sword, and then you could
It was
attack, and you could throw your sword, and that's about it.
Evenly matched. There was just like,
Yeah.
it's a sword. That's all you have. Now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I have a bow and arrow. Or
Which
I
I'm
have
fine with.
this.
If they added more weapons, that's cool. But just the art style, you're just these like gross looking like
Fat, like not even fat, like just like blobby,
yeah.
weird looking things. So yeah, I would just recommend picking up Nidhogg, just the original one for real cheap. And if you really like to try out the new one, go for it. Let us know how you feel about it. Right into crew@bitbloggist.com. The next thing to keep your eyes on is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It comes out August 22nd. Did you play Uncharted just 4?
Just 4.
Just 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my brother played all of them though.
Yeah. So Uncharted's great PlayStation, Sony series. I actually sold my copy of Uncharted 4.
Well, if you beat it, I mean, what else
I don't
is
know,
there?
but I'm blanking if this is a standalone release or if this is like an add-on DLC thing, because that's how they did The Last of Us with Ellie's little side story. So I'm a little nervous that I didn't need the game to be able to play this.
That would suck.
I was like, shit. But anyways, keep your eyes on that August 22nd. If you're a big sports fan, Madden NFL comes out this month as well on August 25th. I'm sorry. Yeah, Madden NFL 18. I didn't say 18. That's important to also mention. I'm not a football guy, so I don't have much to say about that.
Yeah.
But Spencer Bradshaw, if you're listening, get ready for August 25th. I know you and the rest of the boys will be excited about that. And then one that I'm excited about, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is the next big main Switch release, August 29th. And it's basically XCOM meets Mario Kingdom and Rabbids. We've talked about it enough, really, on the last podcast. But basically, just keep your eyes on that because it does look like a cool game. I'm excited to see what
I hope it's
reviews
good.
say.
I hope it's great. Because you have it pre-ordered. You're locked in,
Yeah,
right?
I have it pre-ordered. Okay. I'm gonna check it out. I'll be trying to get on top of that as quick as I can with a review to inform any buying decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a week. Yeah, I'll wait for the BitBloggist to come out with a review.
BitBloggist review. Yeah, and like really after about a week, that's when you can really think about it and you can read all the other reviews and be like, okay, yeah, this is about where I stand on it.
The thing that gives me hope is how passionate the developer seemed at the conference. Like, they seemed so proud of what they made.
I forget his name, but
which is kind of a weird thing, but
that has to be a cool moment though, like when Miyamoto, the designer of basically like the father of video games almost,
is like basically giving his seal of approval.
Is up there not even giving his seal. He was like captaining this game, like up there on stage, like and really excited about it.
Did they tell them to? They said make something totally different.
Yeah,
like make something that's never been made before for the Mario series.
My only request is that Mario can't jump.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He said Mario can't jump is what he told the developers because he's like, that's my thing. That's like Nintendo's thing.
Jump, man.
And I was like, man, that's weird, but it makes sense. And then the last few ones here are Everybody's Golf, which was like a really fun just golf game. I'm a big fan of golf games for some reason. Ever since like Mario Golf on the 3DS was a fantastic game, and so just the ability to just play a few rounds of stupid golf, like it looks like a pretty. It's the sequel of like Hot Shots Golf. If you ever like heard of that franchise.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. Really, August 29th is a huge day, and then we also have Resident Evil Revelations.
So which one has this come out before? Okay,
this is the remaster, and it includes 1 and 2.
Okay,
but if you ever played the original, it was on 3DS actually.
I did play
first, which was actually really really good. There was a long strand of terrible games for Resident Evil. It was right after I think 5 or 6 came out, and then this game came out, and it was like, oh, this is actually like kind of like what I remember Resident Evil 4 being like. Kind of campy and spooky. You're on the cruise ship, just running around.
Well, no, the one on 3DS was the mansion, right?
It was both.
Okay,
you were in a mansion for part time, and then you were on a cruise ship for a long time as well. And I just remember I was like, oh, this is actually a cool environment. Like this is interesting. And I actually had the Circle Pad Pro. Do you remember that?
No.
You would attach like a side grip to it, so you could have 2 joysticks.
Wait, hold on. I'm thinking of something totally different.
You didn't have to have it.
So Resident Evil was on the DS originally. Which one was that? That's what I'm thinking.
That may have been like Umbrella Chronicles or something.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one on the cruise ship I have not played.
Okay,
but I know you could attach a second. You had that? That's amazing.
Because it was unbearable to play without it. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, this is. It was like $25, and I was like, it's worth it. I was
to
like,
actually enjoy the
yeah,
game.
I was like,
like
I'm
it's
not
meant to
dealing
be
with this
played.
garbage. Yeah, and so they've remastered it. They had a sequel to it, and the sequel was okay. So,
Cool.
but if you want a collection remastered, check it out. It's on PlayStation and Xbox One. And then very last one, Life is Strange Before the Storm. The sequel comes out on August 31st.
Dang. I love Life is Strange.
Well, so you'll be checking this out then?
Yeah.
Cool.
100%.
I know we got the PS Plus. We got it for free not too long ago, so I'm gonna check that out for sure too.
You have it? You haven't started?
I downloaded it. I just haven't. There's so many games. There's so many games, dude. Being the BitBloggist is tough, man. There's too many games. So the main topic of the show today is really end bosses, but specifically also the Zelda main end boss for Breath of the Wild. So Matt just beat this game. And so for me, I wrote a little blurb here, a little excerpt. Main bosses are so important to a game's finishing thoughts for the player. The entirety of the Breath of the Wild was fantastic, but for some reason, the main Ganon fight left me wanting a little bit more at the end. Thoughts?
I agree.
All right, that's the end of the podcast.
Shut it down.
No, but seriously, I want to break into this a little bit because it was like my lasting appeal or my lasting effect on Breath of the Wild was still this game was amazing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's more about the journey getting all the way to Ganon and then finally beating him. But I think the problem is, and you can kind of increase the difficulty now, especially that hard mode is out.
Right.
Make this a little bit harder, but ultimately, even in a game that is set to normal difficulty, I feel like the end boss should feel like a
challenge,
a feat when you do beat him. Whereas when I beat Ganon, there was no like fear of me dying.
Not at all. Well, you upgraded everything.
I went overkill for sure.
But I mean, I was making fairy potions and I was like ready for the fight, but didn't need hardly anything.
Yeah. It was a little unfortunate because the entire game of Breath of the Wild was like so cool, and what I keep like thinking of is that like the Savage Lynels and a couple of like the mini bosses were way harder than Ganon. Would you agree with that?
Well, it depends on where you're at in the game, but yeah, I definitely struggled more with the little mini Ganon bosses that you fight in the Divine Beasts.
Yeah, well, I'm saying
like the really fast one.
Yeah, he was really hard. That was the hardest one for me. But I'm saying like even I think the Lynels were actually the hardest boss, the hardest enemy to fight in this game.
Yeah, even at the end of the game, I was still like damage boosting. Okay, I have my best armor on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm using the Mipha's Grace and the Darude's Protection. Like I needed everything.
I would go through like 2 or 3 weapons every single time I fought a Lynel, and I was like, they were really hard, and I didn't want to fight them. I was like, I'm going to avoid them because I don't want to. And I think that's part of the reason. But when you're going up to Ganon's castle, you're forced to face one, like in that little room. And I was like, oh, crap. I was like, I'm probably going to break a lot of my weapons here.
Well, at the end, when I was upgrading my weapons, I just went Lynel hunting and like was just teleporting around, just destroying Lynels, which was pretty awesome.
I think once you figure out a pattern to beat them, it's much better. But I still never really felt confident whenever I was fighting one.
It was still a struggle,
like, I'm gonna probably get hurt on this one a few times.
Yeah.
But that never felt like the case. So yeah, I mean, like let's kind of break it down. So Ganon, all right, the Calamity Ganon. You know, you see this omnipresent, floating, scary ghost over the Hyrule Castle the entire game, and you're like, ooh, shit, I cannot go over there right now because that looks very scary.
Yeah.
And then you finally get there, and then the music's intense, and all these guardians are wandering around. You're like, oh man, this is going to be a tough fight. And then you get inside, and then it's like this giant spider, multifaceted monster that
I think he looked kind of cool.
He did look cool, and he possessed a lot of the different mini bosses like traits that you fought in the game, like the laser, and just like a few of like the attacks, like the swords and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then the Divine Beasts shoot their laser at him and take away like half of his health, which whatever. I think that's where you could make this fight more difficult if you decided to not go to the Divine Beast. You can actually go to Ganon and they won't do that for you.
Right.
So that's an option. But then you beat him, which was really easy also.
It was.
You basically just shoot him in his arm, and then you go hit him in the face, and that's it.
Well, It relied pretty heavily on the reflecting mechanic, which was cool because I sucked. I probably played like 50 hours before I got that down.
Yeah.
Which was cool because I was so confident in my ability to reflect with the shield that, I mean, there's a part where he's crawling on the wall, your ancient arrows don't do anything, and so you have to reflect his beam back.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I was like, okay, I am skilled enough to take this guy down.
I can at least get 2 out of these 3 that he shoots at me. There's a few where I messed up, but if you have Daruk's protection, it's an automatic reflection, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm still fine. So that was the thing. It was like, the reflection wasn't too much of a challenge, and I think if you had the if you had the Hyrule shield, Hyrulean shield, I think it automatically reflects.
I didn't have it.
I can't remember. Oh, you didn't have it?
Well, I put it away because it was about to break. I didn't know you could fix it, so it started flashing red, so I just put it in my house.
You're like, no.
Yeah, I wanted it to break.
So you beat him, and then you go out into the field, and you're like, oh, man.
Which visually I felt was one of the coolest things they've done.
Oh, yeah.
In Zelda. So you go to Hyrule Field, and you face Ganon in his beast form.
Which is pretty synonymous with like a lot of the games, because he is like this weird hog kind of thing.
But they've never done it this big before.
No, yeah, you fought a hog Ganon in Twilight Princess,
but it was maybe a few times larger than you.
Yeah, it wasn't as big as this.
But
one.
This was like Shadow of the Colossus big.
Yeah,
which
it was
massive.
Cool. That was the cool part, and like you were even riding around on Epona, or was it Epona? I don't know which horse you were.
I had
on.
Epona.
Okay, I don't think I had Epona. I don't know what horse I had.
You had some random horse.
Yeah, some random horse I caught in the wild.
That probably sucks.
Yeah, it was okay. But I never felt like you're traversing across this field trying to dodge his attacks.
He doesn't do anything.
Which really his only attack is like a straightforward beam that is really, really just super easy to get out of the way of. But you feel like you're moving so slow because like they want you to feel the size like of how big Ganon actually is. So you're running around dodging his attacks, and all you're doing is just shooting at these like glowing spots on his body.
Which the light bow is cool, and that's
light bow
another
was dope
Zelda.
Also.
Yeah,
but that was it. And then once you did that, you just shot up in the air real quick and shot him in the head, and you were done.
Yeah, it was way too quick.
That was the whole battle for a game that I put over 100-something hours into.
Yeah, it definitely did feel a little too quick. And so I beat it again. I replayed the battle.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't beat it twice.
Yeah, I was
like,
dang.
How many times have you done the final battle?
Just the one.
Just once. You should try it again.
I just don't even know if I want to go back.
Just
disappointed.
Well, I mean, I liked it. No, I probably liked it a little bit less the second time. But,
yeah,
but I wanted to make sure. My initial reaction was disappointment. So
Yeah.
I went back just to make sure I
was disappointed.
Yeah, just to make sure that it wasn't actually a good boss fight.
Removed from the hype now that you knew what it was. You're like, was this a tough boss fight? And you're like, no, it wasn't.
No, it was just as easy.
So this kind of ties into a bigger thing. I think that boss fights, while not totally important, like to a game's success, like ultimately Breath of the Wild is one of the best games I've played in years.
Yeah, game of the year.
Fantastic. And a lot of that, again, had to do with what you were experiencing the entire rest of the game until you fought Ganon. But unfortunately, it did knock some of the experience. Like, I was like, this game's amazing. Here we go, Ganon fight. And I was like, oh, that's it. All right. I'm glad I spent so many hours getting all these armors and like leveling up for this ultimate battle, and it was just like
yeah.
So do you think hard mode can fix this?
I don't know, but I think it'll make it more difficult. But I think there's fundamental flaws with the boss fight. I think for one thing is, I think the beams coming from what do you call those 4 people? The 4
divine beasts.
Yeah, the divine beasts with
the champions.
Yeah. I feel like that's a cop out. I feel like just taking away health that didn't increase my experience of the boss fight at all.
Yeah, I would be happier. I would have like been okay if that took away his invincible armor.
Right.
And I was like, oh, now we can hurt him.
I thought they would deal like the death blow. So like I bring him down and then they finish him off. That honestly would have been more satisfying. But just taking away half his health and it's like, all right, do the boss fight now. That was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. But I guess the reason they did that, and Nintendo, like, while we are complaining about this boss, they had to make it modular a modular experience if you went to Ganon right away,
Right.
and how difficult that would be. So like because you haven't gone anywhere else in the game, they're like, okay, we need to make Ganon harder. So if they go to all the divine beasts, we'll take away their health, and like they've done the entire game, like we'll help them out. But if someone tries to go there immediately, that will, like, if they haven't gone to any divine beasts, none of his health will be taken away. I don't know if you go to like one, if it takes away like a fraction.
I think it probably would. I think this is a case where too much freedom actually detracts from the experience. I think it would have been better if you had to get all 4 divine beasts before you faced them. And then what if each champion helped you in a certain way? So what if you had to fight them in a volcano and Darude's there and like doing something, and then you had to fly through the air with the Falco looking guy?
Dude,
wouldn't that be cool?
That would be very tight.
Yeah.
All right, Nintendo. Well, if you want to fix the ending of your game real quick, Matt just gave you the perfect idea.
I just think shooting a beam, taking away health, that just makes the boss fight shorter and less enjoyable.
Yeah. Oh man. Because like, okay, so let's kind of go just through a few of the Ganon fights you have in other Zelda games. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but basically like Twilight Princess is one that I definitely remember because it was like 3 or 4 different forms of Ganon.
So I actually have like a top. Like I have them. I have them ranked.
Let's hear them.
So Twilight Princess has the best final boss in the entire series.
I would agree with that.
And it's broken into 4 stages. So you fight like a Phantom Zelda first.
Yep.
And she flies around with her sword. Then you fight Beast Ganon.
Mm-hmm. In the same cathedral. Yeah, I remember that.
And you fight him as Wolf Link, which is cool because you play as Link, then you play as Wolf Link, and then you play as Link on horseback in a horse battle.
And you're shooting the pig Ganon is chasing after you at this point?
No, he's on his horse too.
Oh, that's right.
He's on his horse too. I think maybe he's splitting into different things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, you're fighting him on horseback.
You're shooting arrows at him.
Shooting arrows, also using the sword, which was really good in Twilight Princess.
Especially with Wii, like being able to ride horseback and shoot arrows at him.
And then you face him in single combat, which is really hard.
It was super hard.
It's pretty difficult.
Because they kind of employed some of the stuff like where you had to like counter and like you had to use a lot of those skills you learned from like the skeleton guy or the ghost warrior that you met multiple times.
But I've probably done that one 10 or 15 times. Like I keep going back to that boss battle.
Did you buy the remastered version?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't either. But I remember I had just beaten Twilight Princess, and when they announced the remaster for Wii U, and I was like, oh well.
Yeah, it's probably been 5 or 6 years since I played, so I try to like I'm always playing a Zelda game.
Just to, like cleanse your palate a little bit and like.
Well, it's fun because I've beaten almost every single Zelda game that's been made, but then years go by and then I can replay. So I beat Wind Waker on the GameCube, and then I beat the remastered version.
Yeah, and you kind of forget almost like some of the stuff. Like you remember like how to do certain things, but you're just like, oh yeah, like I remember this boss. I was like, but I don't remember how to beat him.
Yeah,
I had a hell of a time with that one you fought like in the volcano or whatever it was, where like the thing would tilt.
And you have the magnets.
Yeah, and you had to like grab him and then throw him. Like, and I forgot that was like one of the earliest mechanics you learn in the game was like the sheep or the goats or whatever you're herding. And I was like,
grabbing and tossing.
And I was like, oh, that's what they're doing here. I died so many times in that boss. I was like, what am I doing wrong?
So Twilight Princess is number 1 for me.
Number 1 for you. Okay.
Number 2, I would say Ocarina of Time. Just because that started the iconic like tennis match with Ganondorf,
and that was hard. Like his boss battle was hard,
so hard.
He's knocking on all those platforms, and you had to like dance between the two and like try to dodge his attacks.
And the whole lead up, you hear that the organ music as you're going up, and then just actually facing him was so awesome. And then you have to escape the castle as it's collapsing,
which they haven't done ever since. I don't think so. There's been no collapsing castles. That's kind of a Nintendo thing.
Yeah,
like Metroid.
Oh, you gotta escape.
Mentioned that on yours. Yeah, getting out of there after you beat the boss.
And then you face Ganon in his like massive dual wielding form. And I think you lose the Master Sword at one point too. I think he knocks it away and it goes outside.
Yep.
And
you're left to your own vices and. Like the shield, you don't like deflect stuff with your shield.
The shield, like and I think Zelda ends up helping out as well, which I think they could have done better in Breath of the Wild too. Instead of just giving you the light bow, because this leads me into number 3.
Oh
no, actually number 3, Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
with Demise.
Yeah, because the first half sucked. where we had to fight the same thing again. I can never remember this thing's name. I ask you this all the time.
It's something.
The Untamed or I don't know. The giant blob.
Can we please look this up?
The giant dark.
Gosh.
No, I'm gonna feel stupid now. Sorry, anybody that's listening and pulling their hair out. To video game.
It's not the Unsullied, is it?
The Unsullied. What is it? Skyward Sword.
Just something. It's gotta be.
Oh gosh. What's it?
Just boss. I don't know.
Boss.
Terrible boss.
Oh boy, this is gonna take a second. So continue talking though. So. Oh wait, we found it. Maybe the Imprisoned. The Imprisoned. Yes.
The Imprisoned. So it wasn't I was very wrong.
It was close enough.
The Imprisoned. So
bad name regardless.
That boss sucked. It was terrible.
Especially since you have to do it like 6 times in a row. You're just like, okay, like I'm pretty done with this boss fight now.
Mm-hmm. But then actually facing off against Demise, and you find out that he's like the ancestor to Ganondorf.
Well, it was Girahim first, and then Demise.
Right.
And
Girahim was a good boss.
And then you realize that Girahim was the sword.
His sword.
And you're like,
very cool. Very cool.
Very, very cool stuff.
I mean, even Girahim was a great boss where you're like jumping off the platforms and just
like
going deeper and
him.
deeper. Yeah.
He was actually a tough boss to fight too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Demise, just fighting up in the heavens.
And you
him.
get the lightning.
Yeah,
and
that was very gangster.
Very cool. So then number 4, I would say Wind Waker after that. Like you said, it is very easy, but it's just incredible. You're underwater and there's just water falling down
around you, and it's just satisfying. Like the combat in that game is actually really tight, like in terms of how it controls. Like you always felt like you were in control of the battle, and so it felt good. Whereas like if you're playing Skyward Sword or the Wii version of Twilight Princess, you're like, I'm trying to counter or block his attacks, but it's not registering.
Right. Yeah.
If you played on GameCube, maybe it's a different story for you, but for most of us who played on Wii, it was a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I was lucky enough to play the Wind Waker 1 on the remastered version because I'd actually never beaten that game. I played it for
it's incredible
first couple dungeons, but man, I was like not for me. And then I got to play it like in a really like just I think the best way to play it honestly is on Wii U.
Yeah,
because you have the map and you can it's like way easier to get places. They took out all the crappy like fetch quests at the end,
and it just looks gorgeous.
Oh, it was just such a good looking game. Music's so good.
I mean, they cranked up the light a little bit too much.
It was contrast was a little too high in that one. The brightness, but
still a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And then number 5, I'd put Breath of the Wild.
Unfortunately, yeah. I think my list matches pretty much exactly what you're saying. I wasn't not a big Majora's Mask person. That boss battle is super hard though.
Yeah. Unless you have like the Fierce Deity.
Yeah. That boss battle is rowdy. So I would say that would kind of sneak somewhere in between 3 and 4 probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as some, but as far as the difficulty and like satisfying, you're like, stop the world from ending, and I fought on top of this moon basically. It's really cool.
It is very cool.
So, all this to say, I do love Breath of the Wild. It'll definitely we'll have a podcast about this later, but like Game of the Year nominations. But I do think Breath of the Wild is still going to win regardless of what comes out.
Yeah.
Unless Mario Odyssey is just phenomenal.
Which I think it will be.
Which has a chance to be.
Yeah.
So if you still are playing Breath of the Wild, we should have kind of mentioned spoilers before that.
Well, I kind of said it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But put it in the title, probably.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know kind of how you felt about Breath of the Wild. Like, do you think Ganon was a good boss in this version? If not, then let us know your thoughts. And if you have a better idea than Matt's for a way it should have ended, let us know, and we'll talk about it next time.
And we want to know your top 5.
Yeah, send in your top 5. We'll have
Do you agree?
I'll make a little poll.
Ooh, nice.
On the old Facebooks,
Yeah.
so you guys can check it out there. But unfortunately, that's the end of our podcast. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Remember, BitCast is a sort of weekly podcast that covers most things video games and pop culture. We'll be back again next week, most likely doing the same thing. But again, I implore you to let us know if you like this format. Let us know we can do better, because we've been doing this for 35 episodes now, and it's really just been kind of off the top of our cusp, just kind of just doing it. So let us know what you think. Remember to go to BitBloggist.com to just see what else we've released recently. Splatoon 2 review is up. You can check out Matt's piece about Metroid. I'm thinking about doing a piece pretty soon about the magic of Mario Party and how it's lost.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because I just got Mario Party 2 also for the 64.
And
that
it's
game
amazing.
is so good.
Dude, I want to play.
It's so good. Matt, thank you so much again for being here.
Dude, happy to be here.
3 episodes in a row. It's just me and you, just laying down the news.
Does that mean I'm a co-host now?
Yeah, you're an official co-host, dude.
Cool.
The actual term co-host. Remember to follow BitBloggist on Twitter or Instagram at BitBloggist. I'll be posting pictures there every now and then, as well as just anything else I think is kind of cool. And send emails again to crew@bitbloggist.com. If you want to be a part of the discussion, we'll add you to our group, actually, where you can just write in topics you think you want us to talk about. But until next time, this has been BitCast. Thanks for tuning in. Talk about some stuff.